Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. All right, guys. Today, I am going to be giving you a list of mid-round running backs that are smash plays. Now, if you've been drafting a lot on Underdog Fantasy, you're very well aware of the fact that the wide receivers are flying off the board early. So the best picks in the middle round are the value running backs, the running backs that you can get at an awesome price, because the mid-round wide receivers really aren't that great because all the great wide receivers are going off the board early. And what this does is it produces a lot of mid-round running backs with tremendously high upside. So it's very important to know which running backs to hit on in the middle rounds, because it's going to be one of the keys to winning your league this year because of how wide receivers are going earlier and earlier. So I've got a list here of 5 players that I want to give you, and I want to make sure you draft these guys. Now, I'm going to be going in order from least optimal to most optimal. Now, I have 5 players on this list, and I'm going to go from 5th best to 1st best, but they're all great plays. That's why they're on the list to begin with, but I'm going to go in order from least important to absolute number 1 priority. So I'm going to start right here with the first player on my list, and that's Rachaad White. Now, this is a guy who last year had 50 receptions out of the backfield, which was top 11 in the NFL, despite not really becoming the guy until like the halfway point of the season. And then he comes out in the one playoff game they had and had 4 receptions on 6 targets and was very productive in the passing game. I think that Rachaad White's going to be a top 5 running back in fantasy this year as far as how many targets he sees out of the backfield. He will be in the top 5 as far as overall targets out of the backfield in this offense. A very big reason for this is because we do have a little bit of we have quite a bit of a quarterback downgrade going from Tom Brady to either Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. So they're going to be dumping the ball off into the backfield a lot. This is going to produce awesome pass catching upside for Rachaad White. And I don't think that it's impossible for this offense to bounce back. I mean, look, we have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin leading the wide receiver attack for this team. This can be a sneaky good offense. They have talent. So to think that they're going to come out and just be absolutely terrible like they were last year, I don't think is necessarily a fair assessment. Now, obviously, we've got a quarterback downgrade, so there's probably a lot of people that aren't high on the Bucs offense. I'm not necessarily high on the Bucs offense, but I am very high on Rachaad White because he's going to see a ton of targets out of the backfield. We know that he's very efficient in the pass-catching game, and look for the yards per carry efficiency to go up this season because he is a very talented back. And on top of this, if the offense surprises us, him having touchdown upside will just be icing on the cake. But the bottom line is the opportunity share is going to be through the roof for this guy. He's going to see so many targets out of the backfield and thus produce awesome PPR upside. I love Rachaad White as a mid-round running back pick. Next player on my list is Isiah Pacheco. Now, this is a guy who certainly plays in a good offense, and he's got tremendous talent. This is a guy who's 5'10", 215 pounds, runs a 4.37. By some just insane circumstance, this guy was a 7th-round draft pick. I could never tell you why a guy with these kind of workout metrics was a 7th-round draft pick, but he showed to be very efficient in his first season. 4.9 yards per carry for Isiah Pacheco, tremendous yards per carry efficiency. He had 830 rushing yards despite not really becoming the number 1 running back for the team until the halfway point of the season, kind of like Rachaad White did for the Bucs. And this is a guy, 6 catches in the AFC Championship game. And so we saw his passing usage start to be ramped up significantly as the season went along. And a lot of people are probably hesitant to draft Chiefs running backs because we know that the touchdown upside can be kind of capped because of their propensity to, run a trick play whenever they're within the 5-yard line or just pass the ball to Travis Kelce and force feed him when they're within the 5-yard line. But we have to keep in mind that in the Mahomes era, we have not had a running back nearly as good as Isiah Pacheco since Pat Mahomes has been the quarterback of the Chiefs. So I think that we're going to see significantly higher red zone target volume and red zone opportunity share for Isiah Pacheco. And when they're within the 5-yard line, they're not going to be afraid to hand him the ball because we know that this is a very powerful back that can, just kind of ram his way into the end zone, unlike Clyde Edwards-Helaire and pass running backs have been able to do in this offense. So considering the fact that he's a way better running back than the Chiefs have had in the entire Mahomes era, and he plays in a very good offense. I love the touchdown upside. He's going to see a ton of targets out of the backfield. The yards per carry efficiency is through the roof with this guy. He's tremendously talented and a very good offense. I love him as a mid-round running back pick. Next player on my list is going to be DeAndre Swift. Now, I want to point out first that DeAndre Swift has never finished outside of the top 15 in fantasy points per game at the running back position. This is a tremendously efficient back. He saw a 15.1% target share out of the backfield last year. He was 5th in yards per route run at 1.78 yards per route run. We know that this dude is a tremendously efficient pass-catching back, and now he's playing behind the best offensive line in the NFL. I absolutely love DeAndre Swift this season. You look at his efficiency metrics from last year, 5.5 yards per carry, 6.3 yards per touch, which was 2nd in the NFL. If he was averaging 6.3 yards per touch in the Lions offense, just imagine the upside that he has behind this Eagles offensive line, playing in what could easily be the best offense in the entire NFL. Now, obviously, Jalen Hurts is going to siphon some of his rushing touchdowns. Rashad Penny's going to siphon some of his rushing touchdowns. But this offense is going to be so good and provide so many scoring opportunities for DeAndre Swift that even if those guys are taking some touchdowns away from him, he's still going to have ridiculously high touchdown upside. I see somewhere between 8 and 12 touchdowns in this offense for DeAndre Swift. He has a massive weekly ceiling and thus is very good for best ball formats. So I love DeAndre Swift from a weekly ceiling standpoint. I love DeAndre Swift from a consistency standpoint for, the entire season perspective. I absolutely love DeAndre Swift this year. Don't worry about the fact that Jalen Hurts is going to vulture some of his rushing touchdowns. There's going to be plenty of scoring opportunities for this team, and the efficiency of DeAndre Swift behind this offensive line is going to be crazy. If he averaged 6 yards a carry in this offense, I wouldn't be surprised. Next player on my list is going to be Alexander Mattison. I love this play as far as a mid-round running back pick. This dude has always been awesome when given his opportunities. You look at 5 out of his 6 games that he played without Dalvin Cook, he had a touchdown. So he averaged almost a touchdown per game in games that he didn't play with Dalvin Cook, or in games where Dalvin Cook was out and he got to be the number 1 running back. This is a guy who's built like a workhorse as well. 5'11", 220 pounds, runs a 4.67. He has all the athletic intangibles to be an elite running back 1 in the NFL, as I've been saying for a very long time. And in games without Dalvin Cook, this is the main thing that we're looking at here. This dude averaged 19.5 rushing attempts per game in games where he played and Dalvin Cook was out. So basically 20 rushing attempts per game this guy's getting when he gets to head the backfield. This is a tremendously good sign. Now, obviously, it's become more and more of a pass-first offense, but all that's going to really do is increase the touchdown upside for Alexander Mattison because we know that this offense is, two-dimensional. So Alexander Mattison has tremendously high touchdown upside, playing in an offense that scores a lot of overall points, and we know that this dude has really good yards per carry efficiency. We know that he has a ton of volume coming his way as far as his rushing attempts. If he averaged 17 rushing attempts per game this year, I wouldn't be surprised. And a lot of those are going to be high-value touches because this offense is great. Next player on my list, the number 1 priority that you guys need to be drafting in the middle rounds at the running back position is J.K. Dobbins. Hands down. I mean, look, this guy in his career has averaged 5.9 yards per carry in his career. That is absolutely insane. We've got a 200-plus carry sample size, which isn't big, but it's at least big enough to be relevant and tell a story of how good a running back is. 5.9 yards per carry. So he averages more yards per carry in his career than the best running back in fantasy averaged yards per carry last season. The best running back in fantasy as far as yards per carry efficiency last year was Khalil Herbert with 5.7 yards per carry. J.K. Dobbins has averaged 5.9 yards per carry from a career-long standpoint. Now, obviously, small sample size. He's been injured a lot, but still, incredible yards per carry efficiency. And last year, he had a 10.9% breakaway run rate, which means that 10.9% of the time, when he got his opportunities, he ran the ball for 15 yards or more. This guy is a big play waiting to happen, and we know that running backs that have a mobile quarterback in their backfield typically have awesome yards per carry efficiency. So this is probably a big reason for that because Lamar Jackson is such a big running threat. And so defenses have to account for multiple threats in the backfield instead of just one. And on top of this, he's got the absolutely sick athletic intangibles. He's big, he's strong, he's built like a brick house. He runs a 4.37 40 time, and he's playing in an offense that has the upside to be the number 1 offense in the NFL. This is the absolute number 1 smash play for mid-round running backs. If you're drafting wide receivers early and you're looking for value in the middle rounds at the running back position, this guy is by far and away the number 1 priority. All right, guys, draft these 5 running backs in the middle rounds. If you're drafting wide receivers early, or even if you're going with a robust running back strategy and you want to add depth in the middle rounds at the running back position. These guys are awesome plays. Draft these 5 guys in the middle rounds. They are going to be a huge contributing factor in you winning your league. All right, guys. Appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you later. Bye. Have a good one.